It's a bright sunny afternoon and I'm here at Nazza Italia PJ. Appropriately, it's a great day because I've been given the opportunity to test drive the new Ferrari Roma. Now, before we proceed, I just want to record my appreciation to the Nazza Italia team for extending this session to me, because a few months ago, the Horizon team, the whole Horizon team, Bobby, Thomas, the rest of them, they've had a chance to drive this car and review this car already. That time I was busy with the car wash, so I was unable to join them, but the team very kindly set aside a couple of hours with this car for me. So here I am, all right, walking this car through with you guys. So I've already reviewed, I did a walk around of this car during its launch. That time was a display left-hand drive car. So today, this one, we are checking out the right-hand drive model, all right. And I have to say, this car really, it's a stunning looking car, all right. And the way this car is styled, it's built, it's executed, it's unlike most modern Ferraris, because most Ferraris have a kind of like a functional sportiness to it, but this one has more grand touring qualities. There's more luxury built into this car. So later on, as I will show you inside the cabin, the way this cabin is constructed also is of a much higher level luxury than most Ferraris that we are accustomed to test driving in recent times. So now the front end, I am told, is inspired by the legendary Ferrari 250 GT. It's one of the most sought after Ferraris in history, and well, time will tell whether this car achieves the same level of iconic status. So now the front end of this car, all LED headlights, okay, and this front grille here coded to body color. Now you can see there, that's the ADAS radar module. You got two front sensors and a front camera there. A very subtle placement of the prancing horse, and well, nice black finish here at the lower spoiler. So I like the overall design of this car in that, you know, unlike a lot of modern sports cars, right, Ferrari still managed to, in a way, keep a certain, you know, restraint to its design. Now, we know Ferraris are, in a way, you know, when you the presence of a Ferrari is like nothing else in the market, but somehow, you know, when you look at this car in isolation, right, it screams Ferrari, but at the same time, the way they execute the lines of the design is very restrained. There are no unnecessary flares, right? Wherever you look, it's just like, you know, it's the sign of a car maker that is confident in its design, that, you know, they don't need big gaping holes to announce that this car exudes sportiness. Now, I like the way this part is, this front end is designed, whereby you see this gentle bulge. It shows as if, as you know, they're draping the sheet metal. The visual effect is that they're draping the sheet metal over the wheels, okay, and it creates that bulge in the middle. And you see the transitions all are very soft, very smooth, very curvaceous. They don't use sharp lines here, all right. And the side mirror also stands far out to the side. I like how the base of this side mirror has this little curve here, in which they cleverly integrated the side camera as well. Very nice, nicely executed. Okay, so keyless entry, button here to lock and unlock, and this is to open the door. All right, okay. And look at the rear. Okay, once again, the design very smooth, very curvaceous. The tail lamps, okay, very subtle and nice. Look at the, just now, if you saw the indicators, you know, a very even, very uniform brightness in terms of its illumination. Okay, so the Ferrari's design execution of this car, I would say, is it's amazing, because, you know, shape wise, beautifully styled, does not go over the top in terms of its styling details, but, you know, unmistakably sporty, unmistakably Ferrari, and oozes tons of presence. Right, so let's check out the inside. Okay, now these are the back seats. I'm not going to try myself sitting in there. Okay, it's a 2+2. You have isofix mounts down there, which I presume you access. How do you access this? You have to remove this, right? Okay, because there's this, well, this flap here, which I believe you pull. Okay, and you pull this down to reveal a connection with the boot. Okay, there's a tray here, which, you know, one of your rear passengers can drop a phone. But actually, hey, the leg room is not bad. But I don't think I can fit in here. Once again, lovely selection of materials here at the back. Right, so let's drive, guys. Okay guys, so this is the interior of the Roma, and as you can see, the philosophy of its construction is vastly different from that of most modern Ferraris. In fact, the execution of this feels closer in concept to Aston Martin than it is to Ferrari, because usually Ferrari cabins are more functional in their nature, but this one, there is added touch of flair, of luxuriousness. I mean, look at the way the lines intersect here, and the selection of materials, nice Alcantara finish all around. So everywhere you touch, right, it's beautiful materials, and the fit and overall fit and finish, it's of a very, very high standard. Okay, now of course, elements wise, very, very simple. There's this console box here, deep, actually surprisingly deep, 2 USB ports and a 12-volt socket, one cup holder here, a slot here which you can put in your phone, or you can just drop it on this tray down here. Now very little control elements, but everything, all right, all the controls of this car is organized. Okay, firstly, passenger side has this screen. I'll bring you guys to look at it later on. There's this freestanding vertical screen here that controls the infotainment, that controls the climate control, and also seats. This is the gear panel. So you select reverse, manual gear change, auto, launch control. We won't try this today. Okay, so 2 power window switches. Now this is the digital instrument cluster, and the steering wheel, so you can see well, signal switches, left, right, gear shift pedals here, down, up, and behind here there's another button hidden behind here. You don't see any button for entertainment control, right? But the volume is adjusted by a little rotary knob here, all right, which I can show you. It's here, all right. Now that's the instrument cluster, digital instrument cluster, and you interact with the cluster by touch on this panel. So let me just show you the screen now. Okay, here, this menu that I'm currently at shows you the whole function, the whole ADAS functions available. So you have adaptive cruise control, you have auto high beam, adaptive front lights, blind spot detection, auto braking, lane departure warning, traffic sign recognition, speed limit detection. All right, and you can scroll through various functions of the car. Okay, all right, let me just go back, and so you use this pad, all right, to scroll through the functions. And what you can do is you can even select View Max, and you can have the whole instrument cluster become like a map. I would have to say the display, the quality, overall display quality, very, very nice, very vibrant graphics. So it really looks attractive. And so here's the engine start stop. So this whole part of the steering is a touch panel, except the Mantino switch, and also the start stop is a touch surface rather than a button with tactile feel, which I feel it sort of robs the sense of occasion a bit when you fire up the engine. Okay, and as you can also see, the functions actually light up or switch off as you touch the steering wheel. Okay, and over there, this is where you control the side mirrors. Okay, you can also trigger the parking camera, which is also displayed here on the instrument cluster. All right, the rear fog lamp display, lights, and okay, parking brake down here. So here's the boot opener, opening switch, memory. Okay, here's the door opener switch. So you press this to open and close the door. All right, and here's the Menotino switch where you can control. You have wet driving mode. This will reduce the engine torque on wet driving conditions. Comfort, sport, and you have race mode. Please don't use this on public roads. And you can also switch ESC off, which of course we won't use this on public roads either. Okay, so a relatively simple cabin, but one that is really beautifully built, beautifully finished, and lined with very, very exquisite selection of materials. So over here at the passenger side, okay, you can also use this screen to control your temperature. All right, fan speed can control, can, okay. So you can adjust your fan speed here as well. And basically this screen here is the passenger's interaction with the car. All right, so the way there's a very clever way in which they zone the cabin. So this is the passenger's domain, this is the driver's domain. There's this touch screen here in which you can use to you can even say, for example, you can adjust the seat heating, cooling. All right, you can do seat adjustment here as well. All right, seat adjustment, some of the complex seat adjustment, like, you know, lumbar support. All right, side bolsters, all this is, and then the front support. Okay, all this is adjusted here. Let me just show you. Okay, and the basic seat adjustment is actually done right here. Okay, this is where you adjust the forward and backward motion, as well as the seat back. This is the seat back, but things like lumbar support and all is adjusted from this screen. Turbo V8 up front that is rated with 620 horsepower, and it's paired to an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. And now I'm going over the first speed bump. Not bad. Okay, I have to deal with slow moving traffic for a bit right now. Okay, I'm stuck behind some really slow traffic, and the throttle calibration, the throttle response calibration to low level inputs is sufficiently mild that it's not a stressful car to drive when, you know, when it's slow moving traffic, you know, stop go. Right? It's quite manageable. So the road conditions are, well, we're going up over some bad patches, and the ride quality thus far, it's actually very good. It's, I would say, outright splendid in the context of this class of car. Alright, the suspension soaks up all the rough edges of the road fantastically well. And I'm slowing down at a traffic light. The calibration of brake pedal response also feels positively linear. And thus far right now, I'm leaving the transmission in, you know, self-shifting auto mode. The gear changes so far have been smooth, have been, well, right gear at the right time, but that is of course helped by the fact that, you know, this engine has a generous dosage of torque, so you are rarely, if ever, caught in the wrong gear under town driving conditions. So the roads are clearing up a bit, and let's grip the throttle. Well, acceleration is appropriately rapid, but Now I'm driving in comfort mode. It's not ballistic, but there is strong urgent pull, but you can feel the response of the engine is tuned to give you a linear kind of acceleration. And that means that if you are a new driver into this realm of cars, the way the power is delivered to you becomes very easy to manage. It's not overwhelming, it's not intimidating. You can, you know, slowly explore your and bring the level of your driving up with this car gradually. Alright, so you see the way the power is delivered, it's like the car is slowly feeding you off what it has, and there's that sense it still has more in its reserve, but it is giving you just as much as you ask and nothing more. But you provoke it harder. It can be as rapid as you want. Brakes are good. Brakes are good. And another thing, okay, so now I am approaching a curved section, right? So the steering it's nice, accurate, but it is not too quick and too darty. So that's very obvious that the way this car is set up, there's great priority given towards grand touring stability, to a straight line stability. You know, I still remember the last time when I drove the the GTC4 Lusso-T. I felt that the steering was a bit too quick, too immediate in its response. But this one, all right, it's precise, and you really it gives you that bit more leeway to choose your lines with greater precision, to fine-tune your attack angle. So now I'm accelerating into a sweeping bend. Alright? Foot on throttle, 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 throttle. No fuss, no drama, nothing. The way this car responds to your inputs really feels, it feels measured. It feels mature. This is not a car that, you know, that darts around, but rather it has a more natural flow. It's kind of a more of an elegant dancer, if you like. I mean, there's no doubt, right? I think in the whole Ferrari range, at least as where all the cars that I've driven is concerned, this is probably the best daily driver in the lineup. Okay, so let's dial it up one notch to sport. This is where I believe the engine, transmission, suspension, maybe even steering mapping all firm up a notch. And I really can feel that there is a very slight increased edginess to the engine response. More urgency to the acceleration, but that linearity in response that I mentioned earlier, it's still there. So the steering is a bit more darty than in comfort mode. So I found myself over that bend needing to make a bit more corrections, steering angle corrections, than I did before. And you know, the other thing is that I feel that even though the ride is noticeably firmed up in sport mode here, it's still a decently, you know, pliant. It still feels decently pliant. It's very obvious that this car, the overall setup, you know, whether you set this in comfort or in sport mode, there is a much greater emphasis put in on ensuring that it is a livable day-to-day car, which means that it may not be as outright fast or as focused as most other Ferraris, but it does mean that this is a car that you can drive and live with on a regular basis. And more importantly, you can actually drive this thing faster in regular roads more often